different parts of the world to this conversation. As promised, I have come and I want to apologize first that for the last almost 1 hour, we haven't been in a position to have a proper connection as technology would be. I think that is some of the vagaries of technology, but now I'm here. I apologize that maybe some people have asked some questions, but that I didn't have the benefit of hearing them.
The president of Kenya.
But let me say that I am very happy that we are having this conversation, a conversation about issues, a conversation about our country, a conversation about issues that affect each and every one of us. We are not discussing tribes, we are not discussing positions, we are not discussing all those things that are personalities and things like those. We are discussing issues of importance to each and every one of us, from jobs to governance to corruption to all the things that matter to all of us. And as I have said, I have come here to listen very carefully. That one thing I have been accused of not doing, that is what I have come here to do, number one. Number two, I must say that maybe I have been listening in different other spaces. Now I have an opportunity to listen on this platform to different Kenyans from different parts of the world and from our great country, Kenya. Now, let me just say 2 or 3 things that I think I had the last 2 speakers who asked their questions. The question number 1 that I have that has been asked is from Kevin, I think, that maybe I'm out of touch. How did I not know what was happening in the country? But let me tell Kevin and all of us that I have the benefit of more information in my hands. What I cannot do is do things like operate on numbers that have no basis. If you heard me very clearly, I said up to now, 25 Kenyans died out of this unfortunate scenario that affected our country the last 2 weeks. Some reckless people have put numbers all the way to 150, you know? In fact, on one occasion, the Kenya Human Rights Commission said 157 Kenyans have been, there was a massacre in Kithurai. That was not true. And for your information, even the BBC, on hearing such, outrageous allegations, went to investigate. And if you listen to the BBC, they say there was no such thing. In fact, one Kenyan unfortunately lost his life in Kithurai. Let me go to the situation which was which happened in Rongai, where we lost a young Kenyan. The situation in Kithurai was that a criminal in Rongai, a criminal assaulted the police, took off the firearm of the police, and shot, and unfortunately that bullet went and killed a young Kenyan. And unfortunately, again, and we have to be honest with one another, it was said that this young Kenyan was pumped with 8 bullets. That is also not true in Rongai, And so there is a lot of information out there in the social media propagated by people to try and create a situation that did not exist. In fact, I heard Kevin say, I was asking the one who did he die? Because, the one that was being said of 8 bullets did not exist. In fact, we have now found out that the one of 8 bullets happened several years ago, somewhere in Guruburu, and it was in a completely different scenario. But on Rongai, I was very clear. I had the benefit of information, and I spoke to that information. The same narrative I gave when I gave the interview on Sunday is the same narrative I have at the moment. I have also been, Kevin has also said that we need to hold the police accountable, and that is correct. And it has been said that I am the president. Yes, I am the president of Kenya, but the president doesn't hold absolute power. That is why we are a democracy. In a democracy, there is a system of checks and balances. The president is not a dictator. I cannot decide for the judiciary. I cannot decide for the legislature. They make their own independent decisions. I cannot decide for independent institutions. The police, and let me say this without fear of any contradiction. When I came into office, I said I will respect the independence of the police. In fact, the one act I did when I came into office, the first day when I sat on my table as president, I signed the instrument to remove the budget of the police from my office, because that budget was being used to manipulate the police. You all know that it is said, he who pays the piper calls the tune. So I did not want my office to be the one to decide for the police on who to arrest, who to charge, how to pursue corruption. I provide policy, the police run independently. In fact, if you read the Constitution of Kenya, the police is an independent institution. It doesn't take instructions from me. It doesn't take instructions from the Chief Justice. It doesn't take instructions from the Speaker or from the legislature. They act independently. I agree, good people, that innocent lives were lost. And one life lost is one too many. I have said in my statement that as government, we are going to support.
What? Also, it has been reported again. Jesus Christ. Oh. The speaking, then boom.
Why do you laud the police for the matter of civilians?
I think she's the one speaking.
Why do you hold a press conference and tell the police that, citizens...
Not sure. I cannot see who is speaking that big English. Where is he? Where is she?
What he meant, he did not use the word protest precisely, but he said anyone who tries to disrupt the peace of the country. Protesters, how do protesters disrupt the peace of the country? Why do you love the police when people are killed? Why are police shooting at civilians on their balconies? Why are people fleeing Kenya so that they may have peace? Why are they being abducted? You might say that the police body is independent, but this is not a democracy. It is not functioning like a democracy, but a dictatorship, Mr. William Ruto. Because the way the police are handling the situation is not fit for a democracy, and you cannot deny that you're behind that. Because even though you say they're independent, you have the power to stop the killings. But instead you go, after all the killings, you go hold a press conference and laud them. Sincerely, we saw Mano last year, how you dealt with the citizens. Same scenario this year. When is that going to stop? What kind of a democracy is this? Can you define what a democracy is, Mr. William Ruto?
Whoa.
I think you grew up in a very authoritarian family that you expect people just to dance to your tunes. In a democracy, the right to picket and to protest is guaranteed in the Constitution. The countries you travel to, Germany and United States, first of all, why did you grant them visa-free entry to Kenya? Africans do not have the luxury, even diasporans don't have that luxury. The way diasporans are being treated at the airport, these bills, now, what you did when you granted Europeans visa-free entry to the country is giving them the right to disrespect Kenyan citizens abroad. And the fee that was supposed to be incurred through the payment or visas is transferred to Kenyans. I mean, that is simple mathematics. You should know that.
Okay, Kenyan German lady, thank you so much.
The same expectations
Oh, Kenyan German, this lady, she's the one speaking. This one, she's the one speaking, but I cannot show you on my side.
And then the conditions worsen for Kenyans.
Okay, if you can hear me, Kenyan German lady, let's give it, we said we limit it to 2 minutes so that we give everybody a chance to... No worries, no worries. You are at liberty, of course, to ask your question. Mr. President, thank you very much. Let me help, let me say this to my sister. The right to picket, the right, and I said it in my statement, is enshrined in the Constitution. But let me also make a distinction. I say the protesters peaceful within their democratic rights were hijacked. There are people who infiltrated. And I am very sure that the people who banned the office of the Chief Justice, the people who banned Parliament, are not the peaceful protesters. These are criminals who I was speaking to, and I was saying the police must stop criminals who are burning institutions, who have gone to destroy people's property. I don't think those were innocent demonstrators. I know for sure that innocent demonstrators came out to protest, to picket, because it is provided for by the Constitution. But honestly, do you want to tell me that the innocent protesters, the people who had come to picket, are the ones who went, broke up shops, stole people's property, burned down Parliament? I don't think so. And we need to protect the protesters, but we need to keep the criminals who want to cause mayhem out. And I have the responsibility to do both by assisting, getting the police to do what they have to do. It is my responsibility to facilitate the police. The police will tell you, ever since I came into office, I have tried to assist them, to get them the right equipment, to get them the right capability, to protect the country and to protect innocent protesters. Let me also tell you, many of the innocent protesters became victims of criminals who stole their phones. They were all over, who took away their money, who stole from them. This is the balance we need to get. But let me tell you.
You are at liberty, of course, to ask your question. Mr. President,
thank you very much. Let me help. Let me say this to my sister. The right to picket, the right, and I said it in my statement, is enshrined in the Constitution. But let me also make a distinction. I said the protesters, peaceful, within their democratic right, were hijacked. There are people who infiltrated. And I am very sure that the people who banned the office of the Chief Justice, the people who banned Parliament, are not the peaceful protesters. These are criminals who I was speaking to, and I was saying the police must stop criminals who are burning institutions, who are burning people who have gone to destroy people's property. I don't think those were innocent demonstrators. I know for sure that innocent demonstrators came out to protest, to picket, because it is provided for by the Constitution. But honestly, do you want to tell me that the innocent protesters, the people who had come to picket, are the ones who went, broke up shops, stole people's property, burned down Parliament? I don't think so. And we need to protect the protesters, but we need to keep the criminals who want to cause mayhem out. And I have the responsibility to do both by assisting, getting the police to do what they have to do. It is my responsibility to facilitate the police. The police will tell you, ever since I came into office, I have tried to assist them, to get them the right equipment, to get them the right capability, to protect the country and to protect innocent protesters. Let me also tell you, many of the innocent protesters became victims of criminals who stole their phones. They were all over, who took away their money, who stole from them. This is the balance we need to get. But let me tell you, ultimately, after I have said everything I have said, I am ultimately responsible because I am president. And that is why I said it was regrettable. It was unfortunate that we lost lives in this engagement. And I have said government is going to assist all the families as to the extent that we can to make sure that we minimize the loss that they have gone through. Let me also say the following. On matters to do with passports, I think we have made a very big step in the right direction to make sure that we deal with the challenge of passports. And even now, we have given a green channel to Kenyans who are looking for jobs abroad. Today, there is a green channel at immigration to make sure that those Kenyans who have jobs abroad can be able to be processed much more easily. Let me also say, there is a reason why we have a visa-free regime in Kenya. And when I say a visa-free regime, it doesn't mean that people come to Kenya for free. That is not the same. It is that we have simplified the process. Today, you will come to Kenya. We have simplified the process because we want to escalate our numbers. And for your information, because of the visa-free regime, we now have a program called ETA. Our numbers for tourism have gone up by 500,000. More Kenyans today have jobs in our hotels. Our hotels in Kenya today are 80% full in many instances. If you speak to the tourism sector, they will tell you our numbers for tourism in 2022 was close to 1 million. Last year, it was 2 million. This year, we are heading to 2.7 million. It is part of the interventions that I have made. It is part of the changing of how do you come to Kenya. Make it easy. Today, you don't have to go to no office. Today, you can get your ETA, pay for it online, and be able to come to Kenya easily. And Kenya is not the only country in Africa that is doing that. We are all doing that. Look at what is happening in Europe. 27 countries in Europe, they don't have a visa between them. They have abolished visa between them. Why would we want to keep a visa regime that keeps business people, that keeps tourists out and makes it much more difficult for them to come and enjoy what we have? For your information, Kenya should not be having 2.7 million tourists. We should be having 10 million. In fact, London has nothing to show. London is blocks, old places. They have 20 million tourists. We should be having 10 million tourists. It is my focus that in the next 5 years, I want to double the number of tourists coming to Kenya by 2027, 2028, and progressively do that. Why do I need tourists in Kenya? I need to create jobs for millions of young people in our country. We need to create investment in Kenya. We need to make sure that our farmers have a place to sell their food, their produce. This is why I am doing the visa free. It is not us versus them. We are looking after our own interest. And that's what I'm doing. Let me also say the following. Many people have asked me why I shouldn't dissolve a cabinet. You see, when you sit in the place that I sit, there are many things that you have to think about. And I have given my undertaking this afternoon, that I am in the process of looking at how differently we can be able to reorganize government for it to deliver effectively, appropriately. And I have listed a number of interventions that I believe will take us to the next level, added on to what we were doing. I have also heard from my good sister who said that what happens to the finance bill? Is it going to become law in 21 days? Because that was the biggest beef. And why did I wait until it was too late? Let me answer it this way. First, let me say that the finance bill today was a victim of many falsehoods and propaganda. The finance bill today was meant to achieve very important things for the Republic of Kenya. Unfortunately, I gave in because the people of Kenya had decided they do not want it, which is okay. But was there a problem with the finance bill? I would want a honest interrogation of the finance bill. For example, it was said that the finance bill had matters to do with increasing money for land rates and land rent and changing the whole configuration. Let me tell you, there is no single sentence in the finance bill that speaks to land rents and land issues. It was not true. It also says that we had put in there taxes that would make it difficult for people suffering from cancer. Let me tell you that, in fact, in this finance bill, we had put there 2 billion shillings to pay for the people who have cancer, who have diabetes, who have hypertension, because under our universal housing program. In this same bill, we had put interventions that would create more jobs. We had said, for example, there is no need for us to import diapers, to import pampers, to import linker, to import furniture from all manner of places when there are enough factories in Kenya to manufacture these products. And these products manufactured by Kenyans, hiring Kenyan young people, building Kenyan wealth, we were protecting our own industries so that we can protect our own jobs and give opportunity to millions of young people, to be able to understand, to be able to get jobs. And also, let me just say this lastly, potatoes, good people. Is it right for us to import potatoes from Europe, or eggs, or onions? We had put duty on importation of potatoes so that farmers in Nyandarua, in Timau, in different parts of Kenya can sell their produce without competition from potatoes from elsewhere. These are some of the things that were in the finance bill. I admitted, which I do, that maybe we didn't do as much communication as we should have. And that is a regret that I have admitted. But I am willing, I am ready, I am here to listen. Let me not say more. Let me do more listening.
Well, Mr. President, sir, ni mzuri tuongee ukweli.
Yes.
There's one problem with you, Mr. President. Haunanga huruma. You are not empathetic. Nini kitu imekasirisha watu wengi, Mr. President? Na hii shida yote ilianza ile time ya floods. Remember time ya floods? Wakati watu walikuwa wanateseka, you never even said a word. A week later on, we saw you on a private plane to the US, carrying all sorts of people, unnecessary people to the US. Hapo ndo shida ikaanza. You never said a word. Ukirudi bado nyumbani, tukaanza mambo ya reject the finance bill, kanyamaza tu, ukaona tunaenda maandamano. You never said a word until watu wakaanza kuuliwa. That's when you decided to reject the finance bill. Mr. President, surely, mbona uo unanyamaza alafu unapenda uongo sana? Unaona tu vitu vinafanyika when it gets out of hand, alafu unaanza kuongea. Saizi kuna watu wanazika watoto wao saizi vile tunaongea. Saizi hata kuna rafiki yangu saizi anazikwa saizi. Ni matanga, hii wiki imekuwa ni matanga sababu ya maandamano. But you're here thinking about the economy. You're not even sympathetic to the families. Uja mention hata jina mtu mmoja. Kuna swali pia niliona umejibu kusema about Rongai. You asked us, kila mtu kwa hii space wanatoka from different regions in Nairobi, in Kenya. Yeah. Rongai, people are killed. Githurai, people are killed. However, the information you receive Unadhani they tell you only one person was killed. Okay, that's a life too. They do not feed you. They do not feed you the actual information. So you are just weighing the deaths of people, the number of people. You just tonight Kindiki was saying people are not killed, was not aware, people are not abducted. You are just arrested. Some of us were arrested. And your excuse is that the police unit is an independent body. Surely, Mr. President. Watu watakuwa wanauliwa alafu unasema police unit is independent. Alafu wakati wanauliwa excuse unasema the economy is growing. How can this is right now the country is mourning. Properties worth of billions were banned. You have not addressed that. All you think about is the foreign policy and the economic status of the country, not about the livelihood of the common mananchi. Surely, Mr. President, we need you to be with you. Be empathetic. Your government should be empathetic. You should stop this issue of police brutality. That's what we want right now. Personally, the police came to my house at 3 a.m. They broke into my house. They refused to identify themselves, and that was it. We were abducted. It was like kidnapping. Hii mambo mimi sikumbuki, nilikuwa nadhani mambo ya movie. Mr. President, tulishikwa, tukapigwa. They even stole some stuff from our house. Imagine askari anakuja, akona bunduki anaingia kwa nyumba, akona mask, 12 of them with 12 cars arresting a single guy, an armed citizen. Alafu ukimwambia mbona anakuja kushika, anakupiga. In the meantime bado anachukua vitu kwa nyumba yako. Unapelekwa place fulani hata ujini, not even a police station. When my friends were reporting the issue to the police station, they are not even aware. For my case, they even went to Parkland police station. That's where I was arrested. The OCPD told the guys, we know about this thing, but will not take any action. Meaning it was very criminal. The OCPD, Parkland police station OCPD, deputy OCPD was very much aware what was going on. We were not booked in any single police station. We were taken in a certain house. I think it was a safe house or something. I was blindfolded. Some guys were blindfolded for like 12 hours. Surely, Mr. President, are we in a terrorist country? We just want you to answer that.
Okay.
This is why we're in this space.
Thank you very much, my friend. I regret your situation. If that is the kind of treatment you have gone through, I apologize. And I will take action in this manner. No Kenya. And I made a commitment to the people of Kenya that there will be no extrajudicial killing. There will be no River Yala. There will be no, we used to have 20, 30 bodies in River Yala. When I came into office, I said nothing of that is ever going to happen. And I want to promise the people of Kenya that will not happen under my watch. However, I have had the kind of horror you have gone through. That is not right. What I will do after this engagement, I would like, I don't know, in a very secretive way, if you can send me the details of what happened, I will be able to take action, because you don't deserve the kind of treatment that you went through. Let me also say the following. You have talked about empathy. Maybe, people are born differently. Maybe we empathize in different ways. For the case of the floods, I even convened a whole cabinet meeting to just respond to that matter of floods. 3 cabinet meetings. My minister was on the ground. I was myself in Kiamaiko, in person. I came there in Kiamaiko. And for the first time, my brother, for the first time, normally when people are removed from places, they are brutalized. They are removed and nobody cares about where they go. Nobody cares about what happens to them. For the first time in the history of Kenya, I made sure that every Kenyan who was living in the riparian reserve was given money for alternative accommodation. We paid every Kenyan who left that place 10,000 shillings to be able to relocate away from the danger of the floods that were on the river. I mean, it was the best that I could do in that circumstance. And I promised them that under our housing program, because we now have their list, under our housing program, we are going to consider them the first beneficiaries of our social housing program. I made that commitment in public. If you ask our peers for housing, they already have the data on these Kenyans who were removed from the riparian reserve, who had to be relocated and relocated for their own safety. For your information, we lost many Kenyans who were sleeping there, but they were carried by the floods. And it was the best thing that I could do. I went there in person. My minister was there consistently. I had 3 different cabinet meetings to attend the issue. We committed close to 400 million to make sure that those Kenyans who were in that situation were attended to. Maybe it wasn't enough. Maybe I should have done more. Maybe then I should apologize for not doing more. But to the best of my ability, it is the first time the government of Kenya is providing money to relocate people who have been affected in situations like the one in the flood.
Okay, Mr. President, on the issue of Githurai, you said there was only one casualty, which is a lie. Mr. President, nakwambia tu kweli. Githurai inasemekana there are more than 200 people who were shot dead. Wengine hata hawajulikani mahali wako saizi vile tunaongea ukweli saizi. In Rongai, they shot some guys pia. Wakakuficha wakakwambia ni mtu mmoja. Na ni ukweli reality kwa ground watu walikuwa wanauliwa. Ina ni ukweli watu walikuwa wanauliwa. Tulikuwa huko, wote tulikuwa maandamano. Alafu kuna issue nyingine. This rogue cop amekuwa kichapa watu risasi, anachapa watu risasi open air, kila mtu ana camera there. The DCI doesn't do anything about it. Amekuwa all over social media, in the media, but you don't even say a word about him. His name is Murangiri. That killer cop ameua watu. Watu wanazikwa kila siku sababu yake. Juzi ilikuwa last week Wednesday nilikuwa town. Nilimwona akitembea tu town vizuri. Along Moi Avenue, very happy, very healthy. He's a killer cop. Nothing has been done to him. Hivi tu tumekuwa complaint au kitambo. For how long should we be talking about this? About the killer cops?
Sorry.
You can go ahead, Mr. President.
My good brother, you know, it is good to be brutally honest. And I will not, as president, or even as a Kenyan, ever say anything that is not factual, especially on a very serious matter of people losing lives. Are you saying 200 people were killed in Githurai? Really? I mean, my friend, I mean, where are can the family step forward? People who are saying our members of our family are missing. They went to Mandamano or they went to picket and they did not come back. 200 people is not a joke, my friend. So I really want to plead with you. I am sorry to tell you, you have wrong numbers. I'm sorry to tell you that. It is
Mr.
not
President,
possible.
we even have the names. It's all over social media. What about
social media? I want to offer
we
you.
Have the names.
I want
even
to offer you.
We have the
Tomorrow,
and the names.
I want to offer you to bring the names and family members of the people who are saying their loved ones are not there, don't even take them anywhere. Bring them to State House. Them family members who are saying, I have lost so-and-so. My fellow, a member of my family was there on Monday last week. He went to Mandamano and he didn't come back. And where possibly are the bodies? You know? So I mean, really, my good friend, it is just good to be, you know, we are dealing with a very serious issue. Please let us not use information that is not verified. It just helps to create a situation that is not correct.
Mr. President, I have another question too. Kindiki yesterday.
Otero, tupatie wengine nafasi, at least you're a co-host.
Ya mwisho alafu nimuulize alafu ni adu mwingine. Mr. President, jana Kindiki alisema guys were being arrested, not abducted. When a guy is arrested, it means the area police station or the area OCS or CPD is aware. When I was arrested, Parkland's deputy OCPD was not aware. Meaning these abductions are very illegal. Right?
Let me say the following on matters of abduction. You know, first, let us agree first that the era of extrajudicial killing is no longer with us. There is a new problem called abduction. And it is something that I am going to exercise my mind on because the police have clear rules of how to arrest citizens if they have to arrest citizens. There is a clearly stipulated procedure on how that is done. And if anything is done outside the procedure, then it is illegal and it is punishable. So when the police arrest somebody, they must declare to that person that they are policemen, they are arresting this person for this and that and that and that, and they take him to a place that is known. So that is a matter that I will take up and I will deal with it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. Otero, tuko na wewe bado unauliza maswali, naona umeanza wewe ni Otero, so unaamua vile utafanya, but patia watu wengine chance. We'll take three.
Can you add Wakili Saruni?
We'll take three people, three at a time faster. We have, I'll bring in Alai, followed by Edith, followed by Gray, and then you can give Wakili after that, 4. So again,
Hussein, I really don't think Alai should speak because his comments will be biased. This space is basically about what we are going through in the street. Alai doesn't know about it. In short, Alai amekuwa kiongea mbaya kwa hivi story ya maandamano. I really don't think
Alai can speak for himself. We can't limit anybody from speaking. Everybody has the freedom to speak here.
No, Alai is very bad.
So
thank you.
Let's have
it. Gray Maran can speak, but Alai, no, he hasn't been against this.
Thank you. Otero, I've been an advocate of freedoms for a very long time, especially when we don't agree. So I would ask you to learn that lesson that you should listen to people, especially when they don't agree with you. And that's what the president is trying to do here. We don't agree with him, and that's why we want him to listen to us, and he agreed to come to the space. And moving forward, I really want to tell the president that, Mr. President, you know that your success is our success, and we really want you to succeed. The problem is that I don't know if you really want yourself to succeed as a president of Kenya. Because from the moment you got to be the president, there are things you did which I think just sabotaged your presidency. When you decided to say that you are not going to listen to intern doctors, I said, does the president know what he's doing? Because he's touching the hearts of Kenyans. These are the people who spend most of their time in public hospitals. When the president didn't take up the matter of pending bills and tell the counties and the national government to pay the pending bills, you know that one is touching the middle class, the working class. And these are the people who mobilize their children, called Gen Zs. And they came out and said no. When you removed Linda Jamii, when we interfered with Edu Afia, when we saw your friends and very close associates working with bands of money, 10, 20 million in churches, Mr. President, I think you sabotage your own presidency. And that's why I ask myself that the president really tells us that he means well for the country. But is he really meaning well for himself? Because unless somebody else is the president who is doing all these things, the second and last question, because I don't want to spend more time, I'm an elected official in Nairobi, Mr. President, is the issue of Nairobi on-source revenue, which we have asked, we have investigated, we have been taken around. Mara, it was KRA which is collecting that money. We have taken to the office of the president. Finally, we were told that it's being collected in State House by some agency. We can't get, I'm the vice chairman of ICT in Nairobi City County Assembly. But nobody knows who is collecting revenue for Nairobi City County, Mr. President. It really saddens me, because if that revenue was collected in a transparent and verifiable manner, then you know, Mr. President, some of these bills would be taken up by the counties and it will not come to you in the national government so as to pay those bills, Mr. President. Those are the only questions which I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Alai. Edith?
Yeah, thank you for the chance to ask a question.
Edith,
Hello.
are you with us? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, let's go to Gray if Edith is not responding.
Hello, hello, hello.
All right, thank you so much.
Hello.
Hussein, this is Grayson. Hussein, can you hear me? Otero unanisikia?
I can hear Eddie and I can hear the other gentleman.
I'd like to ask my
All right,
question if you can all hear me.
Okay, let's have one person speak. Gray speak.
All right, thank you so much, Hussein. Edith, I'm sorry. So, Your Excellency, my name is Grayson Mara. My question to you is one, and my question is on this very, very emotive and very, topic that we love talking about as a country, which is corruption. I know you stand on corruption. You have spoken about it many times. You don't condone corruption. You don't want corruption to happen in your government. But then I want to point out something. Recently, there was a scandal, with the fertilizer, and the CS was, impeached, or a motion was tabled in the National Assembly by a member of parliament for him to be impeached. But what happened later is that, the same members of parliament from your political party, the UDO party, went ahead and saved this particular cabinet secretary. What does that speak, to your stand regarding corruption? Do you support corruption on one hand, but on the other hand, because he is your CS, these are your members of parliament, they go ahead and flop that motion that was supposed to impeach this particular cabinet secretary? My last question, as a young person, there is a challenge of jobs in this country. But a month ago or so, in the dailies, there was a freeze that the public service is not hiring anymore. What are you trying to tell young people? Yet you say each and every day you want to ensure that we give jobs to these young people who go to school but don't have jobs out here. People are, forced to do things that they shouldn't be doing, and they went through the education system. If I can get a response to those two issues, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Grayson,
Do I answer those, or I thought we said we take three people? Can we take maybe Eddie? Eddie was somewhere. There is a lady called Eddie was somewhere or something.
Edith Kimani.
Otero, from my end, I see she's a listener. Maybe you can add her to speak from what I'm able to see on my end.
Okay.
As we wait for the engagement, can I proceed and answer?
Yes, please.
Thank you very much. Alai has mentioned three things. Mr. Alai, I want to tell you, Mheshimiwa, that I am acutely clear that even if I don't succeed, I want Kenya to succeed. The one thing that I am very clear about is what do we do to change the status of many Kenyans? Intern doctors. There was a long conversation with intern doctors. I made sure that they were attended to. I met the leadership of the intern doctors myself, finally, and we did make an agreement on how to sort out the intern doctor situation, including I have factored in this budget with their concurrence. When I agreed with them, we were supposed to sort out their arrears in 3 years. I offered to sort them out in 1 year after I engaged with them, and the money is in the budget. As I talk to you, I have even today decided that even with a cut of the finance bill, I will still make sure that they are sorted out. The issue of pending bills. You know, my good brother, we have pending bills in the region of 650 billion. It is the reason why I appointed Mr. Ouko, our former Auditor General, to interrogate all the pending bills for purposes of making sure that we can pay them. In fact, one of the items that I listed this afternoon, which was also in the budget, is a provision for us to begin the journey to sort out pending bills, because it is crippling businesses of people, it is destroying enterprises of Kenyans because government is not paying. The third thing that you have said about Linda Mama or Linda Jamii and Eduafia, I have done 3 things. Maybe the explanation. Let me give you just the explanation on Linda Mama. Am I audible?
Yes, you are, Mr. President. Sorry about that.
What we are doing is, under our universal health coverage, I promise the people of Kenya that we need to ensure that we don't leave other Kenyans behind. Under our universal health coverage, in which this year we now have a budget for it, we are going to scale up the benefits of Linda Mama. That is why we have brought it, we have scaled it up into universal health coverage. We want it to reach more Kenyans. That's number 1. Number 2, we want to enhance the benefits. The benefits were 2,500 for women giving birth in hospital, in smaller hospitals, 5,000, and maximum of 17,000. We have now changed that. From 2,500, we have moved the benefit to 11,000. And we have moved the upper benefit to 32,000. That is not a derogation. That is an upgrading of Linda Mama. Number 2, Edu Afya. What we are doing with Edu Afya is that we are universalizing the universal health is universalizing insurance, so that every Kenyan, and you know, I made this absolutely clear, and that is why we have changed the law, so that not just the students who are in school, but every Kenyan, even those who are not in school, will now be beneficiaries of our chief social health. We, instead of having NHIF, we are now going to have social health insurance fund, which is going to cater for everybody, to universalize access. So on both cases, Mr. Alai, we are not derogating, we are upgrading and making sure that universal health is available to many Kenyans. Finally, on Nairobi, on source of revenue, I thought I heard the governor say the other day that he had increased it, he had raised more revenue than was ever raised. I'm not sure about that. But I want to tell you that that is a Nairobi County affair. You, Mr. Alai, should not be asking me. The public should be asking you, because you are the person. You are the person responsible. You are the representative of the people. You should answer that question. You should be the one to interrogate the county government It is your responsibility of oversight. It is your responsibility of representation. It is your responsibility of legislation. You should legislate how the county resources are raised. You should oversight the county government to collect it. I just want you to take up your job and do it. Let me, Gray Marwa has asked me two very important questions. Marwa, these are very important questions about corruption. Let me say the following, just three things first. Number one, I said before that corruption must be dealt with firmly and decisively. And that is why my act number one in office, the two acts that I did in office when I came into office was number one, to make sure that I give financial autonomy to the police so that they can pursue corruption to the extent possible, and that they don't have to come back to me and nobody in my office will control the police in as to who they want to prosecute. That's number one. And I signed, and the budget of the police is run by the IG at the moment, and they are free to go after everybody. That's number one. Number two, I made sure that the judges that had been denied the opportunity to serve and to empower our judiciary, I signed them, and I made sure that they have been gazetted and they went to work. I did not stop there. I have enhanced the budget of the judiciary from 18 billion to this year. I wanted to be at 25 billion. Unfortunately, it may come down because of the finance bill by about $1 billion or so. Number three, I am the president who has sworn in the highest number of judges in 2 years in the history of Kenya. I have sworn in maybe 46, almost 50 judges, because I have agreed with the judiciary that justice delayed is justice denied. And therefore, I want to make sure that becomes the case. Number four, on the specific incident of what happened with fertilizer, I want to tell you, as I tell the people of Kenya, those where evidence has been gathered, sufficient evidence has been gathered, they are in court. The CEO, the general manager, and 7 other staff of the National Cereals and Produce Board are already in court. The minister was taken to parliament to answer for political responsibility, that to make sure that his oversight role was in question. I want to tell you this, Gray, that we are a country of the rule of law. When a person has been, when allegations are made against a person and they are not verified, there is no way that such person can be held to account. But when they are verified, like the case of the officers who worked under the minister that were verified, they are in court. I want to tell you, if a minister, if a principal secretary, if there are verified allegations of corruption against any cabinet minister and or any principal secretary, the day they are taken to court, I will fire them. I will not wait for the court process, because there will be an element of confirmation that these are people who are corrupt. Let me talk about jobs. And you have said correctly that the public service has issued a circular that there will be, there is a freeze on jobs. The public service has a freeze on jobs at different levels. People who are employed at entry level, and the space around jobs is huge. Government can only hire a very small fraction. My intention, my plan, is to make sure that government facilitates the economy, facilitates the private sector, facilitates the entire enterprise space to create more jobs. It is the reason why I made a deliberate commitment to the people of Kenya when I went for the elections, and I said I will focus on creating jobs. And if you want me to explain to you the areas where I am focused on creating jobs, I will. If you want me to tell you how many jobs I have created in the 2 years that I have been in office, I will tell you, from housing, from digital jobs, from going to manufacturing, all the way to export of labor. I will tell you how many jobs I have created, and I have every intention to make sure that as many Kenyans as possible have an opportunity to have an income so that they can contribute meaningfully to the development of our country. Thank you.
You can speak.
Thank you very much for this chance to maybe ask some few questions to the president. I'll be very brief. I only have 3 questions to make. One, Mr. President, is that like most of the people have said, is that your government is full of lies because of one. I want to put it clear that when Finance Bill 2023 was passed, we believe that the revenue that was going to be collected during that period were going to be used for development. Personally, I come from a Masab constituency, and on February of last year, the CS for Transport, Bonamur Komen, came to Kabiet Shrines and promised us that there is a road down there that's going to down from Kurgung to Chepterway, coming down to Kapkatembu. He said personally that since that this is a road that was left midway by the contractor, he was going to send the contractor in a record 3 months to be on site so that the road can continue so the contractor can start the construction. Up to now, we still haven't seen that. So that basically tells you that that is a liar. Number 2, I think the Gray has talked about the issue of fertilizer. You've said, Mr. President, that if you find that there is a case against the said minister, you're going to fire him. There's a case that has been filed by the Law Society of Kenya against the Minister of Agriculture. If kindly, we can tell the minister to step aside so that, trying to investigate someone who is in office becomes very hard. So let the minister step aside so that we can continue with the investigation. Number 3, I would want to talk about the arrogance. The arrogance that is in your government. I have heard Mr. President say that the issue of Finance Bill 2024 was, I think it was packaged in a way that maybe you should have done it better. Yes, you should have done it better. The reason being, the people you sent out there, since like the MP for Molo, on the issue of the motor vehicle levy, at some point in the TV, he told people that, if you cannot be able to pay that, just leave your vehicle at home. That is the arrogance that was being displayed. The leader of majority in parliament, Kimani Ichung'wah, even went out on a podium, said that, that these are the Gen Zs, they come with the phones, they go to KFC, they go, and then they come with an Uber. That is the arrogance that fueled all this anger that you're seeing in people. And then lastly, on the issue of, I come from, generally this region of Uasin Gishu and maybe Nandi and Uasin Gishu. There was an issue of the Finland scam that happened. There's a case in court. Parents paid for the money. The case is dragging in court. So actually, what you saw in Elred, I think it's more of, it wasn't even more finance bill. It's the anger that has been building up. It's been building up. So people were really angry because they've paid, people sold their land. The issues are still there. Nobody's talking about. We have a case that is in court. It can drag to 5 years. So what happens to the money that is been lost, that someone was going to go to school tomorrow, or by next year, maybe they would have graduated. So I think those are the issues that I have. I want you to address in regards to the areas that I have mentioned. Thank you.
Wakili Saruni can speak.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for this opportunity to address you, and thank you very much, the host, Hussein and Osama. My name is Jesse Saruni, or rather Wakili Saruni. I am the president of University Students in Kenya, KUSO. And Your Excellency, I have a few concerns. But first, allow me to give you a background of why, in my opinion, I feel comrades were very disturbed about the finance bill. Your Excellency,